expected, honestly, right? So I was like, oh yeah, and we finally here, right, for the real thing, and it's very exciting, right? That was what HAWSK doing. Endavour, I want to see my boy Shinso coming in, right? And I don't care that much about DEKU, but DEKU's gonna get power up, whatever. The least interesting character. Now DEKU is gonna get stronger, like whatever, right? And I'm sorry later than usual. Had a little accident, a little issue before I started watching here, but nothing dangerous though, but slightly issue though. But anyway, so we're here now. Yeah, about 10 minutes later usually, but you know, technical issues kinda. So anyway, let's watch immediately. So 3, 2, 1, and go. But I'm excited because, I mean, now it feels like this is the actual start, right? And we kind of knew that. I mean, I expected the Absolute to be a filler last week. Because this is basically always filler in the episode 1, right, of My Academia, unfortunately. But here we go. So what did Davy want then? And of course, I remember the theory people had that Davy is his son because they have fire powers. Yeah, it's like a classic thing there. Well, they both have like fire powers, so they're probably related somehow. Like that was like a, yeah, that used to be like a super. That theory was, a lot of people had a theory. Yeah, oh, he has fire power. He needs to be a fire user, you know. He clearly is. Okay. Can I make some deal right? You kind of know, we saw the Hawk betrayal kind of scene last week, right? So really good, it makes me there. Best girl appears! Oh my god! Absolute best girl ever! Yes! Okay. He escapes by. But I need more Miruko, man! I need more of Best Girl! But yeah, he's kind of pushed away there. Man, we can have a fight with Best Girl? Oh, look at her muscles. You know, I spend like 1 hour every day looking at the Miruko Reddit board. It's her new images. I'm like, oh. And I have this huge music poster, right? I have this gigantic music poster, you know. Having an opening so on. But yeah, I have this massive music poster, which is over there. And the reason why I don't have it behind me, right, is because, you know, it's a true Best Girl poster, so it's a little, yeah, it's not family friendly, you know. But yeah, if you're my Discord channel, because I posted it on my Discord channel, the image of it. So I can't show it here on, you know, on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. that's how Best Girl it is. But yeah, of course I had all my poster, right, huge behind me, and I have like my Academia, kind of the general art and so on. But the Miracle one, yeah, it's one of my latest, one of my newest merchandise. It's her, like, it's finishing off her exercise, yeah. So it's like, yeah. But I remember when I bought it, I was like, well, I can never show this thing on something, but you can buy it more family friendly, I suppose. But I was like, oh yeah, then I can show it, but I mean, I kind of want the best one. But obviously, Miruko is by far the best girl in My Academia. And I love the debate about who's the best of best girls, who's the waifu of Miruko versus Melona, you know. That's kind of where I am, you know. And also, of course, Ghislaine now then, so. That's kind of the level where I live, right? Who is the true waifu? But here we go. What is this about then? Okay, so he knew about it, the HAWSK. Is he a traitor? See, you know, I'm an honor. I don't know what it's about, but so maybe HAWSK just, is he pure evil? Is he working with them? What's the deal, right? mean, they're clearly working together, but why? I can picture HAWSK still being like, pretending to be evil, right, and working with them. And that's the hero's plan. Yeah, okay. He approached them. So I mean, I could see it being like that he's just pretending, right? Oh, I want to be a bad guy now, and he's trying to infiltrate them, right? Maybe. Or maybe he's pure evil. Who knows? Okay, yeah, he has a worth their trust, right? Ooh. Well, I don't know. Yeah, so here we go. This is the plan, right? He's not the bad guy. Yeah. I told you guys. It's HAWSK just trying to, pretend to be a bad guy. Yeah, I told you guys. I mean, that was the theory I had last week too, right? But really, I was like, come on, HAWSK's probably just... Yeah, he's intelligent here, right? So like, you can... Yeah. It's a setup by the good guys, somehow. Yeah, so HAWSK is sent in there to, I guess, infiltrate them, right? To pretend to be evil and earn their trust and so on. This is kind of what I expected. Or that he would take some deal to protect Endavour, perhaps. Because of the whole fire and dub and so on. Because, I mean, we know he loves Endavour, right? He's Endavor's biggest fanboy, right? So, exactly, now we're gonna meet him here in the hospital. I wonder if Dabi... Yes, this is the guy that died when they attacked the corner. Man, he got a score now! Father like son! He got that... Yeah, now he got the... Exactly, now he looks like... I mean, I'm ready here with my Todoroki, Yeah, now he looks like his son here. Now he got the son... Okay, yeah, father like son. Like, will you betray me? But yeah, he looks very similar to his son now, right? With that scar there over his... Okay, so his feathers can't go the fast. His powers is kind of limited in that sense. If he has if he has one big fight, he can't fight for the next day because the feathers are out, I guess. I mean, he's a very powerful hero and it's very high utility to his feathers, right? But yeah, that's a little bit... Definitely a limitation than a Genkai did on his feathers. And I like what his feathers are bigger here and they're smaller, so his feathers are different sizes, right, depending on how much feathers like collected up, right? Some HAWSK backstory here. Yeah. His powers are very, very... He's like the best feather power I've ever seen in anything. I mean, I've seen people with, flying powers, but with wings, like Angel in X-Men, but his powers are like, my wings can perfectly control everything and save people, and they can carry cars, and... The lie is the Endavour toy though. So, I mean, he's the Endavor's biggest fan, right? He has that Endavour, little Endavour toy in his hands, man. You gotta love that. But I mean, now his wings are way tinier, right? It's a good detail. Well, here we go. It's gonna be his son now. It's gonna be at home when they both have the scars. See, even the... Okay. What's it now, whatever. Why does the cat hate you so much? Why is that cat so hateful? Why does the cat hate you so much? Wrong at this. He's the nicest Sensei ever. Come on, man. Yeah, he's like, a bad score, Dad. It's like, they look very similar. Yeah, and the sister's always trying to be the one to make everyone friendly, right? Yeah, she's always trying to be nice and like, please don't hate your daddy. Daddy loves us. Yeah, she's always trying to be. His name is Natsu. Like an FT, yeah, because I mean, it means summer Japanese, so. Yeah, weak those other kids. You know, given he is like Yeah, and Endavour doesn't really have the best father award. It's like the Endavour redemption arc keeps going. But you know, I say about Natsu he's only got like pure white here. So I guess it's like his mom with ice powers. I'm throwing it out there, but probably, right? His crew is probably pure ice then. And his name is Natsu then, so his name means summer, but he probably can't use fire powers. Yeah, and of course the sister's always trying to, you know, yeah, she's always trying to like mend the family. She's the one that really wants everyone to be happy and be all family together. Number one hero Endavour, yeah. He doesn't really have that all might, you know, the plus. Yeah, they're like, oh, he's weak. Yeah, he could barely beat them. This guy is good. The other Natsu, though. Yeah, that guy is good. The other Natsu character. He is like, okay, I got one new fan. He's like, oh yeah, this guy's pretty badass. Oh, I'm a fire type, so I like that. Of course, it's like, of course, someone is like, I also have fire powers. So I love Endavour, man. It's clearly the coolest character. Okay, so the Natsu guy gets to be, yeah, the Natsu boy, he gets to be. Come on, let's say it like Natsu. Come on, let's say it like Natsu. And there's a character named Natsu too. you can't be unseen, man. There's the Natsu scarf, Natsu hair, and then the cat is named Natsu. Come on, you cannot be unseen. Okay. It's like a half-ass, like, I kinda forgive you a little bit. Yeah, if you change that. Yeah, I mean, the sister's happy at least, so. But of course, Endavour didn't want to be number one by default, right? He didn't want to be number one by All Might just being weak, right? He wanted to defeat All Might, right? He didn't want to become number one by All Might just like, oh, I can't fight anymore. to his son. I don't know, man. I don't know how he missed his Natsu's friendship. What that is. The best boy. We need more Pinetta, man. This might delve into DEKU's new powers in opening though. I mean, it's gonna be something, right? It's gonna get everyone's quirk or something. So it's kind of OP, super OP power up, and he gets every other people in the lineage. Yeah, like the order of people there, exactly. Probably gets I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward, right? It's gonna get everyone's quirk that they had, right? Because of course the power is handed down, but if you hand down people with other quirks, yeah, they all had their own quirk, right? Maybe not all of them, but most of them probably had their own quirk. Maybe all of them. So I think it's gonna be able to unlock everyone's power, right? Yeah. I mean, the power gets stronger every time, but I mean, they also had their own quirk, right? Well, of course, when it all started here. But I mean, I guess he gets the memories too. He probably just gets everyone's powers and the memories and everything, right? This is probably straight up a memory from the first one then. You kind of already know this though, I mean, kinda, right? So if we've seen Arma kind of win this. This is probably the beginning though. This is probably, I mean, given that this is probably when people had quirks first, right? Like this. It's probably the beginning of when people just had powers. It's like med Medusa där, ja. Ny Medusa. Maybe like transfer the powers. Yeah, and then give it to him probably like, yeah, exactly. Or well, I gave him another power instead. I gave him like the root power instead. What? But yeah, I mean, he fixed that guy's face, but then the other guy was like, "You get some other power instead." Okay. Yeah, we did one way to get some lackeys. But I wonder this could be late. Yeah, I want to. This head looks like some kind of. This has been way back, but still, maybe this guy's gonna like be a bad guy in the future. Yeah, you know, like this guy appearing here, right? He might be like a guy appearing later, or maybe had already appeared. But it should be quite back in the time, though. Obviously, he can, you know, get healing powers, right? So he won't. I mean, no, you know, I mean, he can of course survive over the years with his healing powers if he wants to, right? So age doesn't matter to him, but I mean, I feel certainly some of the characters in here are gonna be later, right? Like some of the characters might have survived over the ages, even though there has been like 9 generations earlier. With the power stars, they might be shorter years, of course, but still. It locks it in, I guess. Ooh. Well, yeah, but we can know, the comic books are coming alive, yeah. This has to be the beginning, right? They're not only, I mean, beginning in the storyline, but also that they are the first with their powers. That they are almost the first Koraks exist, right? Basically All Might. Exactly. The bad guy always loses in the end there. You know, it takes his power. Very nice too, but I mean... Okay, I guess it gave him the power of... Here we go. Yeah, you can't get the full flashback yet. You need to get stronger, boy, then you get more flashback. Goosebumps in though. But yeah, I mean, Deku's gonna get everyone's power right. Well, clearly. As I said earlier, I feel it feels pretty clear that Deku not only is he like, oh, I'm stronger because I'm the ninth one, so I get stronger, you know, every time I get stronger. But I think it's pretty clear that if they had other quirks, if someone had, you know, oh, I can grow bigger, he's gonna be able to do that. Come on, I feel it's gonna be like, yeah, Deku can do any other quirk, right, that they had eventually. Maybe it's probably be like, you know, temporarily and something gets stronger and stronger, right? Something like that. And of course, that ending here, when they all just have like a birthday party. Well, it's not 5 PM here though, but it's not 5 AM here though, but the enemy is always out in a weird time. Question is, why are you up at 5 AM? Let's go some Miruko. That was the best part. That was the best part of the episode. I was like, we got some Miruko at least. Yeah, nothing else really mattered, but we got to see Best Girl. So that I call it a 10 out of 10 episode immediately. We're gonna go back to that later in the review part. Just gonna see something, maybe some after ending credits. Just gonna see if there's something afterwards. Okay, it's a preview. A new commentary. Maybe Shinso will come then? Yeah, here we go. Okay, yeah. Next week, Class B is back, right? Got my best boys back. He's not shown yet, but I mean, the opening is very much focused on him, right? Come on. Special, there we go. Special participant. There we go. Yeah, we see Deku and oh, he's back. So there we go. Special person will arrive and be part of the. Of course. And we see. Because I mean, also controlled them last time, right? So they're like, oh, he's back. So yeah, finally, best boy, the true hero we deserve, right? But yeah, let's review the episode 90 altogether. Episode season 5, episode 2. The best part, of course, immediately is we got Best Girl. Like that's the one thing that matters. I mean, like what else would you need, right? What else would you need? Yeah, like we get Best Girl. That immediately for me is 10 episodes, like straight up, right? She's like, it's Miruko. She appears for like a minute, and even that, but it's Miruko, and it makes the anime amazing. But yeah, goddamn Miruko. Of course, by far the hottest waifu of the anime. Like, I can't even compare to other female characters. Unfortunately, not more Miruko. But anyway, yeah. So Miruko appears. That was the best part. Nothing else really mattered. So anyway, I thought about HAWSK first. Then. So HAWSK, kind of, I would say, were quite predictable to some extent. So HAWSK, of course, I think a lot of people had this theory. I had some comments in my last review, and I said it must have a course as well and so on, right? Because it felt like one of the most obvious strategies. But yeah, he's of course infiltrating the bad guys, pretending to be a bad guy, right? But actually, still a good guy. And yeah, that I would say was the most popular theory. But it definitely that theory I think a lot of people had. Most people had this theory, that he's doing the classic infiltrate, pretending now to be a traitor, but it's actually is sent by the heroes, right, to pretend to be a bad guy, so he can somehow, learn their strategies or whatever, right, and using Endavour then for this to some extent, right, and we know he's like a big Endavour fan, so it hurts his feelings, right, to be like betraying Endavor's trust and so on, but yeah, I mean, I said his last review, right, and I was like, he's HAWSK a traitor, and this is of course one of the things I presented, right, like, yeah, he's probably just pretending to be a bad guy, and the question then is, does Debbie believe him, right? As Debbie said, like, well, you haven't met the other guys yet, he can't show you the, you can't meet the boss and so on, right, I don't trust you yet, right, so, I don't know, I can feel it can go either way. I mean, you can feel that maybe they will trust him, but given how usually kind of paranoid they are, they probably will just set him up in some kind of trap. I would think that they probably will just pretend to trust him and then try to kill him, right? Probably. And I also don't see why they would trust him, honestly. As Darby said, well, you're a very high-ranked top hero, right? In that alone, if it's much more likely that a hero, like an up-and-coming hero, that is like, oh, I failed, or I want to get the rank faster, or X, Y, or Z, or whatever. Like, so kind of dissatisfied person, would betray them easier. But he's like one of the highest ranked heroes, one of those popular heroes, very popular hero, right, in generally. It just feels like, will this guy really, betray them? You know what I mean? If I was the bad guy, I would be like, why are you betraying the good guy suddenly when you're at this high rank? It doesn't make any sense, right? So I don't think they're gonna trust him. I think they just pretend to trust him, and then they probably will try to kill him in some trap later. Probably. It feels like. I don't see why the good guy or the bad guys would trust like a known and good guy so easily, right? It just feels just weird for them to be like, well, that guy is probably which is now. I do love this scene here though, because I always keep saying, he's Endavor's biggest fan. So I love this scene here. Yeah, he has the Endavour plushie. So HAWSK was like, that was my man. He was never an All Might fan. He's a true Endavour fanboy from the beginning. Right? He was like, when I was a kid, I loved Endavour. So that's a good detail there that he has the little Endavour. A plushie toy action figure of Endavour, yeah. So that he really loves Endavour. That's good because it's with his character. They also mentioned his powers though, and his powers are very, very powerful. As I said in the last year, I guess, whatever, when we reviewed the last season. But his powers are very high utility, right? The wings, the feathers can just fly around everywhere and so on. But apparently, then he has to regrow them. And it takes him time to. So he has that limit though, that not only does he have like a next number of feathers on him, right, but they also have to regrow in like a X number of days and so on. So he's quite limited. It's quite limited power, right, in that sense though. I mean, if he has like a really hard fight, he has to wait for a few weeks to be able to fight again. So that's like a I mean, it's a different thing too, because I mean, if you fight someone, right, you get injured and stuff, you have to heal, you have to, that kind of thing. But with HAWSK, it's like, even if he wins the battle easily, I mean easily in a way that he doesn't, get hurt, like he has no damage, he has no, blood, he's perfectly healthy, but he has to use a lot of feathers, just generally, in like a long fight, but he still, won easily. He's still gonna be out of battle, out of commission, right, for like a few weeks, right, probably. He can't fight, he can't go down the battles because, he has reduced his feather count. So it's like, I guess you compare like a man or something in a game, it has like, he has a huge amount of mana, but he only regains it very slowly. Something like that. Like he has like 1,000 mana points, but only gets like 10 per day or something. So it's like, it's like okay, that's not that good. So that feels like a very clear limit actually to his powers. Definitely. Then we have the angry cat. Yeah, the cat that really hated Sensei for some reason. I do love the Natsu boy though. He gets like on the shirt. Yeah, and now he gets like mugs and shirts. Natsu. So this is what I said last season, and it's hard not to say, right? So this character, he looks obviously a lot like Natsu from another anime, right? Yeah, he looks incredibly similar to Natsu, means summer in Japanese. And it looks incredibly similar to Natsu. And then our son's name is Natsu, and you're like, okay, this just can't be a coincidence. And people said that last year too, but like even more now when he gets this like, showcase of look at Natsu, he's on the mugs, some T-shirts. Then we see the Natsu, the kind of name Natsu, right? His son is all angry, like I hate you, Dad. So it's like the combination here. You just can't be a coincidence. Come on, it can't. The author has to make it on purpose. It can't be a coincidence that he's named the character Natsu, and there's so much focus on that. But yeah, talk about the Endavour part and poor sister and so on. So I mean, Endavour, you know how he is. He's trying to mend his family to some extent, right? Go for the redemption arc. To the Rock is kind of like, hey, you got a cool scar, Dad. Yeah, like father like son is like, hey, Dad, that's not pretty cool. Damage you have there, what's up with that, Dad? So that's something, right? Natsu, of course, hates his father, never get to meet his younger brother, right? Like, I don't even know he like Soba and so on. One thing I think is interesting, I don't think I never mentioned this, they never said this, right? But I thought about it while writing the episode, and that is that Natsu, he's named that because it means summer, but given that he has the pure white hair. He's a Shiro guy, pure white, right? He probably only has ice powers. So his name is probably pretty bad, right? He's like, oh, he's very likely, like his mother, he is purely an ice user, right? But probably his father never trained him. He's like, an ice user? I want to have a fire son, right? So he probably never trained him. Oh, he's like his mom, yeah, pure ice user. But he still named him Natsu, right? So his name is not very good here for being the pure ice user, most likely, right? Because his sister, of course, she has kind of like a white red stripes, right? Slightly red, right? So I guess she has like mostly ice powers like her mom, but a little bit of a fire a little bit fire inside of her. And of course, the Rocky has the perfect split. Yeah, it's the perfect. He has the perfect half and half right there. So he has fire and ice, 50-50. Sister probably is like 80-20 maybe something, but I mean the older brother, Nuts, he's probably 100% ice. And with the perfect name for that. Summer guy, only gives ice power, But anyway, Endavour is, I don't know, doing his best, I wouldn't say, but he's doing something right. And, the sister's always trying to, as you seen earlier, his sister really wants everyone to be a family, right? He's like, oh, come on, Dad, be nice to you, and don't hate him so much, and Mom loves everyone. And she's always the one trying to be like, oh, come on, guys, we can be a family. He's always the one trying to mend everyone's relationship, I guess, and so on. And I guess Endavour and Todoroki might have a little more kinship now. They have the same scar and so on. It was interesting. Todoroki is like, yeah, that's a cool scar, kinda. It's bad on you, but awesome. Yeah. It's like, kinda the same now, Dad. So I don't know. Maybe some they can relate somehow on that. But yeah, I guess we're gonna keep having the Endavour trying to for the redemption arc of Endavour, gonna keep going right into next something like that. And one thing is more too is that which is important, right, to note, not only the family itself, but of course the Endavour, as we've seen earlier, and I like the part of the Endavour though, that he's trying to be not just a hero, but he's trying to have that all might glory, right? And not because he wants to be famous, but I mean because he's afraid that people don't see him as strong enough, right? And again, not because his personal belief, but because he needs the world, like Armor, right? He needs the world to be safe, right? So I like that because when the TV starts And some woman is like, well, he had problems. He could barely defeat that guy. And then some more guy is like, yeah, he got a scar, man. He was struggling. That's not good, right? So I liked, that was great because that goes back to that the All Might is afraid, right? That if the number one has to be so strong that everyone feels safe and the bad guys gonna be afraid to fight you because you're so powerful, right? And now it's like they are talking that I'm weak on TV and so on, right? And it's more about him being like, oh shit, that's gonna make more bad guys come, right? Because you don't have any respect for my power, right? So I like it. Yeah, it kind of goes back to the whole trying to be this like number one has to be this like almighty powerful hero, right? That everyone is either, if you're a good guy, you're happy, right? Because number one is so powerful that he can always save you. And if you're a bad guy, you're afraid to be a bad guy, right? So that's a good point again, that. And now it's like, I need to get better PR, I need to get the PR. The PR needs to start going here, That I like that. That's a good point. It's like, man, is that old lady and so on. But then of course Natsu appears to be like, yeah, man. And in the end, of course, we get the flashback of the powers. We see the brother, and it gives him the power, right? That he, of course, can use to, fight him. Yeah, it gives him the power, so he set up his own demise there by giving his Ototo the power that would, of course, one day defeat him. So that's like a big mistakes done there. Classic bad guy. Oh, I infused my brother with the powers that could one day defeat me. So in this backstory, I will say this again in the review. We kind of already knew this, right? Was there anything really new here? Like we knew he gave him the power. I mean that's been shown like briefly earlier. We already knew they were brothers. We knew he was fighting him. So a little bit I would say that, I mean, it's interesting now that Deku's gonna get the power and so on, right? In his dreams here, or at least like a flashback, I guess, like a dream flashback. But at the same time, it did feel a little bit like, well, I feel we already know everything here, more or less. These extending the scenes, so we kind of have All Might has memories too, and he already knows this. So, yeah, it's a little bit like, well, I guess Deku's just like extending the flashback we already seen earlier a few times. So I felt a little bit slow paced, honestly, in one way, yeah, because like, well, I mean, he gets the powers, we see them fighting and so on. Interesting if some of the characters do reappear though. That the guy that was capturing him might be, a bad guy that will reappear, right? Perhaps. Of course, this is many years in between here. He can obviously heal himself by different healing powers, right? So his age doesn't really matter, right? But this is the 9th generation of the powers. Of course, generation here doesn't have to be like a full grown-up life, right? Because like to give the power away and so on. But we don't know exactly the time frame, right? But it's been a lot of years between, so I have a hard time seeing maybe some of the characters that we saw in this brief flashback might reappear, right, as bad guys, right? I mean, one of his lackey might reappear, like the guy with the mouth and so on. Maybe, right? But yeah, it would be interesting to some degree if he's built up this, like, I guess, almost like cult around himself, right, for many generations. Because mostly what we see him having is his youth, right? If I actually kind of failed, right? Honestly, yeah, because what we have seen so far is mostly him having, young people he has, shapen to be bad guys, right? Yeah, oh, these are, dissatisfied youth people. But this flashback, I think, what it shows us for the most part, I would say, ignoring Deku so far, but this from the bad guy side, is that he was building like a cult around himself. So I would think he actually should have more supporters. You know what I mean? He should actually have a lot more allies. Yeah, it's like a failed bad guy, man. He had like hundreds of lackeys, and then he has like one or something, and he's grown up in the next generation. We're happy with all his bad guys. What I'm thinking on, for example, as like a comparison, is Apocalypse in X-Men, and generally Marvel, but especially the X-Men bad guy. So, I would call that a spoiler really for X-Men, but yeah, in Apocalypse, he has built up this like mutant kind of worship, right? I mean, the same right? They have the quirks, the mutants, right? And he's built up like basically a cult around himself that are living in different hidings in, especially in like Antarctica or whatever. Yeah, they have this kind of hidden society under the ice and that kind of stuff, right? So he can almost go back to Earth, and he's like time traveling, also like to go back to Earth, thinking, oh, they can revive me, or they can do this stuff and so on, right? So the reason why he never dies, because he's like a super mutant, but also because they revive him. Yeah, he dies, and they're like, oh no, but we can like revive him, or we can make like a son of him, or we can make like a clone, and you know, that kind of stuff, right? Where like he's the strongest mutant ever, so he has all these different, you know, mutant followers, right, that are living in different hidden areas and so on, right, and all different planets on the moon. Yes, he has a moon base and everything. So I mean, that guy has been in. Oh my god, there's so much storyline on that bad guy. But I would expect something similar here, right? He's like, I'm building up this huge cult of followers, these massive, you know, worshippers, and so maybe that's going to be a thing. I mean, if anything, deep backstory to me, I think the biggest thing here is that why is he still in prison, you know? You know what I mean? Because yeah, he's in prison, and he has those like, you know, youth people that like him, right? But given this backstory, I think the newest thing here is he had hundreds of people following him. So I would expect, you know, a bunch of grown-ups attacking the prison, right? Kind of like, I guess, not a bad guy, an exponent Magneto, right? Yeah, Magneto with his brotherhood of, you know, mutants, yeah, like they were always trying to save Magneto because he has so many, you know, followers that believe in his, you know, mutant dream and Genosa and that stuff, right? So yeah, it feels kind of weird to me that, honestly, that it's like almost a plot hole that he has. Why does he only have like kids with him, you know? What happened to like his hundreds of adults? What happened to his like, you know, army of followers, right? And because if they're following him for many generations, they will get their own kids, and they will grow up, you know, and they will follow him, and they will go crazier and crazier, right? So what happened to his like huge army of hundreds of followers, and you know, they will multiply and they will be more and more, right? Instead, he's left with like 10 kids. This generation, what happened with everyone else? You know, what happened with everyone else? It's a little bit. He was an X-Men bad guy. He would have thousands of people following him by now. If he was an X-Men bad guy, he would have like an army of hidden, secluded people. That's very X-Men. Red Skull and so on. Yeah, they always have, you know, the hidden armies, right? They always have like, oh, I have my, and they have several kids too. Oh, here's my daughter, and she's been raising this, you know, power in Asgard or something. And it's always something like that going on in X-Men. Every goddamn superpower bad guy. But I mean, otherwise the backstory, I think it's extended into the scene, right? But anyway, so about DEKU then. DEKU, our main boy. I think this thing here feels pretty clear. I said during the reaction, I said it last year, or whatever, last season. I think everyone kind of agrees to this thing. That to me it seems very clear. That what's going to happen, right, is that he has 8 powers before him. The first person, though, had no quirk, right, I guess. He only had this quirk, with his brother doing stuff and so on. But it feels like the obvious thing is then that DEKU is going to get the other people's quirks, right? So again, the first person seems to only have this quirk, right? Given the brother's stuff there. So yeah, that won't matter, I guess. Maybe it's memories, but won't matter if you get power up. But DEKU will probably then, let's say the 5th one had 5 powers, you know? 5th one had the Endavour powers, right? And also this quirk, right? For example, you know, Sensei, he wanted, you know, Miru, right, to get the power, right? Because then he'd be able to do the Kitty Pryde slide, you know, going through stuff, right? The facing ability with the All Might power, right? And he would be very, very powerful. So we know already he can have more than one quirk, right? So I feel that the obvious thing here, and I said it last year too, or so on, right? Yeah, the very obvious thing is that, and this seems very, very likely it's going to happen, is that DEKU will of course get everyone's powers. If they had powers, right? Again, the brother probably didn't have any other power, given the scene there. But yeah, let's say the 5th one had 5 powers. So DEKU can probably be like, oh, if I summon number 5, I can get 5 powers, right? And the 4th one had water powers. Okay, DEKU has that power too now. So it feels like DEKU is going to go from having no powers to having something like, I don't know, 7, 8 powers. Yeah, something like DEKU is going to go up and have, oh, actually, I have all these quirks now. And yeah, DEKU is going to go so OP. I don't know how I feel about that generally. To me, I mean, I said it last, you know, review too, right? I mean, last season that in the end there, then I can hint at this thing. It does feel a little bit to me too OP, you know? Like DEKU's going the Isekai protagonist OP. He's turning into Rimuru-sama or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. It feels like DEKU's gonna be able to oh, like Superman thing. Oh, now I have X-ray vision. Now I have a frost breath. It's kind of like, I can unlock any power I need in a given situation or something. And because, I mean, it depends, right? But let's say that you have water powers, okay. So maybe you can turn into water. Like that's like a better, like a Lugia water, right? You can hurt me with water, or you can shoot water, right? Like that's a way weaker power of water power, right? And of course the combination is even better. So the thing is that if Deku has like 8 or 9 quirks now, he can also level each quirk, right? So first it's like water gun, there's like hydro pump, and then it's like, oh, I'm actually immune because I am water, right? You know what I mean? So he not only can Deku, I mean I'm guessing here, right? And not only, but I'm certain it's gonna happen. Yeah. So not only can Deku then get much more powers, the powers themselves can also be grinded and improved, right? So it feels like everything is opened up for some massive overpower scale. If Deku has any problems, I'm gonna fight this X guy. Okay, he's very powerful. But what if I improve my my fire powers? What if I improve my time powers? Depending what he gets. What if I improve my acid power? What if I combine my acid with my fire power? Like, I mean, poison gas, probably not the Deku team. But you know what I mean? It feels like I'm a little worried about this going definitely the OP route, where in the end Deku's gonna have not these 8 or 9 quirks, but they're all gonna be massively powerful, and you can probably like combine them. I'm gonna punch you with like a super, physical strength punch with fire on it and ice on it, something, and I'm like bam and freeze fire punch you, and it's like, you know what I mean? It feels like it's gonna be really, really OP. Like Deku's gonna be an isekai OP protagonist, and what he will still struggle more certainly in the end of the storyline or whatever, because it's gonna meet stronger and stronger bad guys. It still feels like, man, this is a little bit like I don't know what to call it, but power creep maybe. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, and one thing though is that if Deku has all these quirks in the end, and he can, as I said, I'm sure he can make them stronger. He can make them power. Every quirk can probably be empowered itself, right? It's gonna feel like what can the other characters do then? You know what I mean? What if Deku has like 9 powers, or roughly something 7 to 9 powers, and he can combine them all at the same time, and he's still gonna struggle with these new bad guys who's gonna be powerful, right? What can Bakugo do then, right? What can the explosive boy do? What can the other characters do if Deku is like, oh, this guy is pretty strong, so I have to take it seriously with my 9 powers? You know what I mean? Like, what it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be hard to imagine seeing the other character did 1 quirk, and they're gonna fight the other bad guys, the bad guys' teammates or whatever, right? And Deku is like, I'm using 9 quirks, and I'm still struggling, right? So either it's gonna be weird how I'm a little worried, because otherwise I feel that the later bad guys, the leaders, are gonna be so incredibly powerful that Deku, even with 8, 9 powers, are gonna struggle, right? That's no fun, right? So that's one. That's probably the way it's gonna be. And then their lack is gonna be very, very much weaker, right? So Bakugo and so on can still fight them, right? So it's gonna be like a huge, difference between the leader guy and the number 2 and 3 and so on. Right? It'll be a massive difference. Whereas the other heroes can't do anything. So that's my guess. Or it's gonna go the isekai OP route, right? Where Deku can just like take them all down easily. Where Deku like bam, 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 and they're all defeated, right? Yeah. Always going there to route, and Deku can use like one shot everyone, one punch and everything, right? But I doubt that. But that could be another way, right? Deku is like so powerful now with his 8, 9 quirks that he can just defeat all the bad guys so easily. And that's probably how it ends, I feel, though. Like the actual end though. Like Deku being number 1, and it's so easy for him. But I have a hard time seeing, in like 2 arcs from now, Deku fighting the new bad guy. He's like, well, I have 8 quirks now, bam, it's over. Right? That would be kind of boring. That wouldn't be Macadamia. That would be more something like Slime or, House of Demon Lord or whatever. Yeah, that would be more like the Isekai OP guy. So that route probably won't happen. But if that doesn't happen, right, then it's going to be this weird, I think, very weird difference between probably the biggest bad guys are going to be so incredibly stronger than the other. So some kind of power creep, some kind of like, some kind of power creep. So power creep in games, right, or where you keep improving the stats, right, or you keep adding the value and stuff. Magic the Gathering, probably has the most notorious power creep, I think, in game history. I think Magic series is the worst one in history, at least from a big famous game. So in Magic, you play cards and you constantly mana, right? So it's very easy in Magic to see, and on Hearthstone and so on, to see power creep because something costs like 3 mana, right? Doesn't matter if it's mounted 3 mana, and that was like a 3/2 with first strike 15 years ago. And today, like a 3 mana creep is like a 5/5 double strike lifelink vigilance or something. So basically, that's power creep. So the same cost you paid in the game 20 years ago, today you get something different, right? You get something with way higher stats and usually a lot more mechanics. So you see it in Magic. Yeah, again, that's the best example I think of power creep in gaming because it's so clear in Magic that we are the very high cost minions, like 10 and 9 mana, the angels and so on. They used to have all these like 10/10 stats and have great abilities. So they're kind of the same, but the lower cost minions, creatures like 1 to 4 mana, they used to be like 2/2 for 2 mana. Today's like a 2/2 first strike lifelink vigilance. Protection from vampires and werewolves. 2 mana. That's a really card, yeah. That doesn't have. What does it has? The Inquestor. He's like 2/2 first strike. I think first strike vigilance. Protection from vampires, werewolves, and undead or something. So they're like, what? That's power creep. In Hearthstone, you see it too. Like you have the Magma Rager. It's a 5/1 for 3 mana, and now it's like. Whatever it's called, Rock Rager, it's like a 5/2 for 3 mana, so it's a 1 word health, same mana cost, right? You have the Divine Rager, it's like a 5/1 with Divine Shield for 4 mana, and so on. So, you see it in those games, you see it in most games, because they kind of have to keep adding stuff, right? But it kind of feels like we're going this route here in My Academia, where it's like, well, Season 5, it's like, DEKU has 9 powers now, so because what that means is that the bad guys, as I say again, that it means the bad guy also has to, that's what I'm thinking, right? Again, I'm only here, I'm just guessing, right? But if it's me then, that because DEKU has 9 powers now, that's a massive, like, as I mentioned, kind of like a Magic. DEKU went from being like a 2/2 first strike guy, for 2 mana, to having, he's like a 10/10 now for 2 mana, right? With like, first strike, vigilance, lifelink, and everything else. He has all the different new abilities, right? Yeah, and like shadowing and like protection from red or something. He has all the different, he's like mechanics, he has all these new mechanics on him, right? And because of that reason, you have to also be like, well, he has to fight a similar, enemy, right? Kind of like example, I don't know if the Magic is a good example, but it is because, picture from a game, right? So in Magic you have 5 colors, you have green and red and so on, right? So if you make the green elephant suddenly a 10/10 for 2 mana, you also have to make the goblin a 10/10, right, for 2 mana too. That's the game is unplayable, right? You can't just make one of the colors have 10/10 and 10 mechanics, right? So again, yeah, we'll see what happens, but I feel like later on in the storyline, now DEKU clearly is gonna have all these quirks and be even stronger. The bad guys are also gonna have to be even stronger, right? So it's like an equal team, because DEKU is down here now, suddenly up here, the other bad guys have to follow him, right? And it's gonna be this. So yeah, so I am definitely afraid of this like DEKU massive power creep, and let's see how it goes. But I mean, as I said earlier, it's probably gonna be a gradient thing, right? DEKU's gonna get more powers, and while he's learning to use his new water and fire power or ice power or time power or whatever, right? He's gonna meet new bad guys. These bad guys are gonna be stronger, and also he has to be going at this, right? But he's still learning. So now it's like 4 quirks, right? It's like 4 quirks now, yeah. That's like 5 quirks, right? 6 quirks, 7 quirks, right? That has to be how the story is gonna go now, basically, right? He's gonna level up and get more and more quirks, and then the bad guy has to also be, more and more powerful, right? And in the end, you're gonna have like 8 or 9 quirk DEKU power up here, and the bad guy has to follow him, right? And the issue that I think primarily is massive power creep, but otherwise also that like Bakugo and Todoroki and Urakara and those characters, they're gonna like stay down here because they can't go like 9 quirk power up, right? So what can they do? It's like they're just gonna be like, oh, I have to fight his sister. That's like 1 power, right? It's gonna be that's my concern, right? It seems very power creepy, and probably that is that I don't see how all the other characters are gonna power creep with DEKU, right? That's my concern here. I feel that's my concern here. That's what I said a few times now, but that's kind of just I do this review here and I'm just trying to kind of reason around it, right? And again, that's kind of my reason then, that it's power creeping, but the issue isn't just that it's power creeping. The issue is that Deku is clearly gonna power creep by himself. That's the real issue, right? If Bakugo also gets 100 times stronger in a month, it's gonna be weird. But I mean, then it's less of an issue of power creep because everyone's equally getting powered up, right? But here, I just can't see how they're gonna motivate Bakugo or Todoroki or whatever, so they have the same growth spurt as Deku, right? So it's gonna be that he is gonna power creep up immensely, and no one else is gonna be able to like capture that kind of growth, right? So I think that's kind of where my conundrum comes in here, right? I was like, how is everyone else gonna be able to catch up with Deku, right? They probably can't. So eventually Deku will become this isekai OP guy, which is so powerful that no other character can touch him. Except then, of course, the bad guy has to be equally powerful, so it's gonna be this really weird thing where they're gonna be like godlike powerful, Deku and the bad guy, and everyone else can have like one quirk and not do much against them, right? It's like that's gonna be the ending. But yeah, that's the review, guys. That's my concern. But I'm thinking about it. I've been thinking about this from last season, of course. Obviously, it's a very clear power creep, and now we're getting into this issue where. But given how the story progressed, right, it's definitely gonna be like a progressive scale, right, for Deku, so like learning new powers. Kind of like, I don't know, Smallville, whatever, Superman, and gets one new power per episode. Oh, this week I get extra vision. Yeah, so the last thing here. I love Smallville, and for that matter, maybe I will get the anime, but it's an anime, but I actually really, really enjoy Lewis and Clark, the new Superman TV show. It's freaking awesome. It's awesome. I've been watching TV shows for years, like The Flash. I love Black Lightning. It's a really good show too, probably my favorite. And we had another one, Archer's All Right. And I mean, I've seen them. Legs of Tomorrow is pretty good. But they kind of lost me after a while. But I've been watching them and the beginning. But Lewis and Clark, though, the new one, Superman, that's freaking awesome for the matter. It's really, really awesome. And it reminds me of Smallville. They're living back at Smallville. They're living back home, trying to raise a family. It's a really good TV show, honestly. I recommend it a lot. It's a really good TV show. But anyway, this whole Deku thing reminds me of the Smallville, right? The old Superman show, where basically Clark is gonna like get a new power each season. Like, this week I'm learning X-ray. It's like, the fight is getting extra power. It's like, no, this week I'm learning to fly, you know. And he gets like one more power. This week I have frostbite. And it's like, and he gets like one new quirk every episode until, you know, because he has so many powers, Superman, right? Then eventually he has all these powers on the same time, right? But it's like he's training like one power every episode, more or less, right? that is classic Smallville. And now in Lewis and Clark is similar with his sun steer. They can have his sun steer and they can get new powers. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's my power creep review concern. I really feel it though. Like, what's gonna happen? It's gonna power creep crazy, right? Well, anyway, slap button. I'm gonna go. Today we're gonna watch the final episode of Horimiya. They're gonna have weddings tonight. It's gonna be kind of cute to see. Some kind of Kekyo. And I think Vivi starts today, probably, which is the new VIT studio, that Attack on Titan studio, and they did Great Planet last year. They have a new anime about some kind of android girl trying to save the world and learning love or something. So basically Vivi, FF9. Like, she has the same name as Vivi and the same backstory. Like, what? It seems very similar. Weird name, Vivi, yeah. Like also One Piece, but still Vivi from FF9, it sounds a lot like. That's today. And then, of course, we're gonna have the last of One Piece tonight, which is gonna be amazing because that's the last island, yeah. So that's the Roger Pinnacle